This is the Lifestream Podcast, episode number 7 for September 11th, 2015. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lifestream Podcast. I am Mike Vicklin, also known as Vader SW1 on the forums, and joining me on this mythic quest into all things Final Fantasy are Carlie.
Hello.
JasonTandro.
Hello, all worshippers and lovers.
And Ryushikaze.
Bow before me, as is your...
Did he say it right this time?
Yeah, that's fine.
Haha, victory fanfare.
Victory, right?
Victory.
Where's my victory fanfare?
No. This is a saga victory that we need to eat the meat.
Basically, what this show will be about is for an hour or so every few weeks, we will discuss all things Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy related. We'll hit upon recent news and notes and delve into a different topic of discussion each episode. If you have a recommendation for something we should discuss, feel free to hit us up at lifestreampod@gmail.com or comment on the episode posts on the forums each week. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Going
I'm
good.
good.
Yeah, we're recording a couple of days late. I ended up with a nasty sinus infection, so that's no fun. I'm starting to feel
That's
a bit
never
better here,
fun.
so yeah.
We do have again an all-American podcast, and the last time that happened, we basically turned the podcast into a big lot of sexual things.
It may end up that way again. I can't
I think
guarantee
it's
it
more
won't.
accurate to say we just turned it into one long section.
If you know what he means.
I hope they do.
Well, with that said, then let's see if we can get the show heading in that direction here. We'll open up a little bit of news and notes here. Right off the top, I saw that Square announced that Final Fantasy Agito is going to be reborn. There's been no new information given on a release date for the original Final Fantasy Agito in the West, but Square Enix did announce that they wanted to start out with a fresh, new, quote-unquote, reborn title. Online services for the original version of Agito will end on November 30th, and possible new additional details to be revealed at the Tokyo Game Show, which runs from September 17th to September the 19th. Does anybody care about this?
No, and when was it born the first time?
Well,
To be
technically,
reborn?
technically it was never born in the West, but it's been out in Japan for some time, from my understanding.
So basically, you want us to care about like the little orphaned game in the other country, which like you see the commercial for it and you're like, ooh, that's a sad thing, but you're not going to give money to it. So
Listen, for just 30 gamer score a day, you too can subsidize a video game
in the
war-torn-
arms of an angel,
for the price of one bronze trophy. You can make this game come to life.
You want to play this song? I want to kill myself.
Only you help prevent Chocobo abuse.
Yeah,
And-
that's not happening.
Click unsubscribe. I do not need this nonsense in my life. We got off to a good start right there.
Yeah, hell yeah. Moving on to the next game that probably nobody cares about. Kingdom Hearts Unchained Chi was released to iOS and Android platforms in Japan on September the 3rd. It's expected to be released in North America soon. The story seems to be connected in some fashion to Kingdom Hearts 3. Players will create their own avatar to use for gameplay, and apparently the events of the game are said to take place between the events of the other games, including the Keyblade War. Again, I'm not sure anybody cares.
Not really.
Insert
Though
cricket
it
sounds
is-
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pronounced Unchained Key.
Okay.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, they love doing the alternate pronunciation of chi because fun.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Nice reference, Carlie.
Thank
Okay,
you.
it's related to the others. It's connected to Kingdom Hearts 3 the same way the other 7 games you put out that don't relate to Kingdom Hearts 3 relate to Kingdom Hearts 3. It's another we're pushing shit back. We do not care.
Well, it's another lame ass mobile release, and I got a feeling it's going to be one of those freemium games. And it's just Jesus, let it go, please.
See, also the FF1 port that came with Final Fantasy Portal. It's terrible.
Yeah, I tried that for a second, gave up, completely uninstalled the entire thing from my phone, and then just went back to the GB.
Yeah, it's not worth it. The Triple Triad game is amazing. That's the reason to get the Portal app. Right now, that's the only thing that's good about it. The Final Fantasy 1 version is absolutely the worst, which is kind of impressive considering the NES wasn't even functional.
Next piece of news here is that Square Enix has announced its lineup for the Tokyo Game Show 2015. Sounds like they got quite a bit of stuff that they're going to show. They're saying a new trailer for Final Fantasy 15 will debut. They're going to show a new trailer for the new Final Fantasy adventure game. They're going to do some studio stuff with Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, I guess is how that's pronounced. Final Fantasy Grandmasters is going to be present. They're going to have a trailer for Final Fantasy Record Keeper, which has been out for a while, so I have no idea why they're showing a trailer for that. A trailer for Final Fantasy 11, again, no idea why they're pushing that.
What?
Final Fantasy 14 Heaven's Sword, they're going to have some playable, some playable booze, a trailer for it, and a stage show. They're also going to have a trailer and stage show for Final Fantasy 15, like I mentioned previously. Apparently, Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key is going to have a trailer there. There's going to be a trailer for Mobius Final Fantasy, a trailer for World of Final Fantasy. There will be a Final Fantasy XIV official producer letter live featuring producer and director Naoki Yoshida on September the 19th. There will be a live Final Fantasy XV active time report featuring Hajime Tabata also on September the 19th. And I thought this was pretty cool, and I know you're probably going to dig this, Jason. They're going to do a Square Enix Music Presents Composer Talk Show featuring composers Kenji Ito and Yoko Shimomura. So I thought that was really cool. It would be awesome. It would be awesome if they would bring the master back for one of these.
Yeah, no kidding, right? That all sounds pretty cool. Honestly, the only thing I think I'm really going to be interested in is if the active time report, or not the active time report, the official producer letter mentions that they're going to bring back Hildebrand in Final Fantasy XIV, because his quests were freaking hilarious.
Explain.
Okay. Starting in patch 2.1, and there's a different episode each patch from 2.1 to 2.5, and I haven't gotten to Heaven's Ward yet, so I don't know if he's featured, but I don't think he is, because nobody's talked about him. You get to do a series of subquests with this completely bungling, incompetent detective, and basically the game turns into an anime for a couple of quests, complete with some of the funniest damn cutscenes I've ever seen in a game. It's really hard to describe with words. You just have to go out and watch people play this, or better yet, play it yourself. He's a fan favorite for very good reason. In fact, when one of the things was, he was asked, if you want to bring back Hildebrand, one of the announcements they had, like, there was a loud resounding yes. So yeah, he's awesome.
Right on. So yeah, Tokyo Game Show 2015 runs from September 17th to September 20th. So I'm betting we're going to have quite a bit of new news to talk about come the next podcast here.
Please be excited.
Absolutely.
Please be excited.
Another Final Fantasy 15 trailer. Oh boy, we're going to get the second half, the cut footage from the hugging trailer. It's an extra 3.5 minutes of hugging.
hugging action. Extreme.
Well, now you're gonna get Noctis and Luna hugging.
Oh, okay. And there's gonna be a
And
little
they're gonna reveal
backstroking
that
action.
Stella's back in the game. They just took the character who they turned Stella into and just changed her name back to Stella. And this satisfies the fan.
And then there was a tremendous roar through the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next piece of news here I wanted to move into was to see if we had a any kind of update on the Lifestream.net Final Fantasy VII Community playthrough with Carlie. Lex was supposed to join us as well, and I was going to quiz him about this, but he wasn't able to make it this evening. So, Carlie, you're the one I'm turning to here.
That was probably a horrible idea because I haven't played the game. I did. See, I mentioned this before in the previous podcast that my graphics card had a manufacturing problem. They had to return it.
Yeah.
The new one came 2 days ago. We haven't had a chance to install it yet. I haven't been able to play because I had an exam for my university this week that I had to study for. So I have absolutely nothing for you. The last thing I did was like a month ago, which was I got out of the Metro Mines. Yeah, it's not a good showing. I think I vaguely remember that Lex mentioned last time that week was like the last chapter, which I was not aware of.
Right.
Just how far behind I am. So apparently, technically speaking, the playthrough is done by most people involved, except for me, of course.
And me. I'm still behind on that because of reasons that don't at all involve Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, but you can say you've already finished it before.
If it makes you feel better, my LP of 5 stalled out due to a number of factors, including being away from my desktop for over a week. I can't record on my laptop because it's... But hopefully that'll start back up soon.
Well, you'll have to start keeping us updated again once it picks back up.
Oh, yes.
And by the way, I do want to give a quick shout out to Tetsujin because he was also going to join us for this podcast and actually give us his review of Final Symphony 2. But unfortunately, he couldn't make it this evening either. So we're going to hope to catch up with him on the next episode.
And the
Instead,
Tetsujin name drop continues.
We just fill our Tet's quota of the podcast.
And instead, I'll give you my report on the Zelda concert that I went to last night.
Oh, yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
It was good, but they didn't play Windfish. This has been everything I'm telling you about that concert.
Well, with that said,
well, it's off
That's
topic. I won't waste too much time on it.
Moving into, I thought we'd give a little update on the Lifestream Podcast Final Fantasy Retrospective series. Carlie, I know you haven't had a chance to play here, but I thought I'd give everybody else a chance to let everybody know where they're at this point. We'll start with you, Jason.
Jason is on an all-thief playthrough at the moment. That was his muffled screaming. You now know the sound of true despair.
So the last time I touched this was wow, my throat hurts now.
That's how bad his pain is. Just screaming it out hurts.
Okay, out of context, saying the last time I touched this could mean something else entirely.
Well, we all know where Carlie's mind is.
I took care of that before the podcast. I'm good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You took care of Carlie before the podcast? How generous of you.
Wow, that got way TLS after dark. Okay, and another quota.
Hey! Nothing I've said thus far could not be said before the kiddies go to bed. They just, you have to cover their ears a little and hope they don't figure it out.
You put the back on topic. The long and short of it. Hey, here's a good one. The long and short of it is basically
there
that
is no short of it, my friend. There is no short of it.
I can literally see Jason turning completely red.
You'd think so, but I'm completely shameless. This doesn't even faze me. This is like an afternoon conversation. This is like
with his mom, yeah.
This is like tea with my parents, you know, in compared to how I normally talk. I'm toning it down for the podcast. But no, I've been doing a 4th Thief run. My guys are at level 7 now. I'm doing it on the normal difficulty, so I'm trying not to be cheap because it's a challenge run. And that you don't have ineffective attacks like they had in the NES version where you just attack something and nothing happens. So they've compensated by making your accuracy complete shit. I miss like every 3rd hit just doesn't connect. And sometimes I'll get like 5 or 6 hits in a row, don't connect for no good goddamn reason. So even fighting basic monsters like ogres takes me forever, and I take so much damage, and leveling up is such a pain. And I'm at Elfheim. That's how far I've gotten, and I regret my life choices. I'm still live blogging the thing on my live journal. I just haven't had anything new to report that isn't just hours of screaming.
In rage quitting.
And rage quitting. I had to I rage quit the other day because I decided to take a premature attack at the Peninsula of Power, which is the peninsula northeast of Provoca. That there's 2 tiles where you can randomly attack enemies from much later in the game and, you know, earn goodies.
4
and such.
tiles. It might be 2 in the remake.
I think it's only 2 in the remake, but I thought it was 4 in the original. I think you're right about that. Suffice to say, this little Peninsula of Power is great for leveling if you can connect your freaking hits and kill the enemies, which I can't. And I was playing it safe. I was running away until I finally, after 10 tries, got a enemy encounter with a single Necrotar. I'm like, okay, 1 enemy, I can do this. 5 misses in a row, my guys get killed, and I'm just like... Anyways, I'm done. Ryu, Vader...
Ryu, where are you at?
I'm doing much better. I'm running a fighterless team. In that I've got a black belt, a white mage, a black mage, and a thief. Now this is going to be... It's slow going to start, but it's certainly beatable at the end, and then you get really stupidly powerful at the end. Not as stupidly powerful as a 4 ninja party, but still.
Where are you at in the game right now?
I'm in the volcano.
Okay. Yeah, since completing the game, I'm decided to go ahead and do those bonus dungeons. And after completing the first bonus dungeon, which I think it's the Earth Gift Shrine, I kind of put it down in a fit of rage, not because of how difficult the damn dungeon is, but because of how fucking stupid it is. They went out of their way to make them as annoying as they possibly could. All of the levels...
Well, that's because game length equals quality.
Okay.
That was the thought when they made the remakes. But that's why they made the levels extremely stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they're just... I don't know if you've ever played any of these bonus dungeons before, but I have, and I just forgot apparently how annoying they are. But they're extremely time-consuming because some of them are like walking a maze. There's a lot of randomly generated levels, so you never know which one you're going to hit next. It's fucking stupid. Sometimes you can even encounter the same level more than once through a foray in a dungeon.
Yeah, they improved that formula when they did it again for Final Fantasy IV's Complete Edition. Oh, not the DS remake, but the GBA and the PSP one. And so the levels go a hell of a lot quicker. There's shit to break up the tedium, but yeah, the Dawn of Souls ones. Actually, hell, they did it even better in the Final Fantasy II remake that's on the same damn cart. In the bonus dungeon they make. Because that shit has a plot. It has a story.
Yeah, I love that bonus dungeon. And that is actually one of the things I'm looking forward to. It might be the only thing I'm looking forward to about playing Final Fantasy II.
Yeah, I like the Saga series, so I'm more amped about 2 than I think everybody else in the world. Speaking of, there's a new Saga game. It's coming out soon. Woo! And not just the one for the Vita, though. There's apparently one actually coming out for like the PS4, which is amazing. Just called Saga at the moment. We have no other details.
Right on.
Waiting, just so waiting. Anyways, but yeah, because I'm not going to go into what the Final Fantasy II bonus dungeon is, because so much spoilers.
Yeah.
But it's actually got a good story with good characters.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, it is going to be interesting getting progress reports on how you guys are dealing with Final Fantasy II.
Oh, I already know how I'm going to tackle Final Fantasy II. The first probably 2 hours or so is going to be devoted to kicking my own ass to level up insanely enough that I can just cruise through the rest of the game.
Yeah, be careful with that though, because you do need to be able to survive the battle afterwards, and after a while you just get so good at beating the crap out of yourself that you can one-shot yourself. And they also they haven't patched it yet, but I did basically in every subsequent game in the Saga series they went, oh yeah, that's fucking stupid. Let's not do that, but do something even stupider. Like it depends. The Saga games are extremely obtuse on purpose. So much so that the creators aren't entirely sure of how they work at times. But for a glorious example, there is a weapon in Final Fantasy Legend, Saga 1, the Saw. It's a chainsaw. It's an insta-kill weapon as you just go through an enemy. Now, due to poor programming, this works on everything, including the final boss. It is considered the best way to just not... You don't deal with it, you just kill it. And then there's, in Saga 2, Final Fantasy Legend 2, which is, again, very near and dear to my heart, there's a number of glitches, but the best one is probably the trash can glitch, in which case you've got a limited inventory system, but one of the items is the trash can, so you can trash items. Now, it is possible to try and trash the trash can, because you can move it around. If you try and do this, it doesn't work. Instead, it starts accessing random code, and all sorts of weird stuff can happen. You can just start getting inventory full of the best stuff in the game. You can completely bork yourself out of progress. Recently, I discovered that there's another glitch in the game called the poison glitch that people don't even know much about, because the way to trigger it is easily reliable, but it's still hard to pull off because you have to have someone in battle die from poison in a battle that has 16 people in it, including your 4 party members, any allies you have, and the entire thing. They have to have exactly 16 members. One of them has to die from poison damage, and that's hard because poison does like 30 damage max. But if you do it, the game just doesn't know what's happening and things get weird, and you can like fight the final boss in random tiles in the beginning of the game if you get the right set of variables. You know, later games are much more stable, but they've still got their weird stuff. Like, for example, Saga Frontier has a recognized money exploit that they found while testing. Not only did they leave it in, but they put it in the guides. So if you can get enough money to get a couple of gold bars, there's 2 places where you can start buying and selling gold. And if you buy them at one place, it's a little bit cheaper than the other. This isn't where it comes from. I mean, you could keep doing that. Where this comes from is that as you sell more of them, and as you buy and sell more of them, the price goes up and down. So you can inflate the number ludicrously of how much you buy from them. And then there's what is called the junk shop glitch, where if you attempt to sell an item that you do or do not have to a specific store, you freely get access to a section of the game where you can randomly search for items, And then not only do you get in for free, you get them usually at the best tier.
Nice.
Yeah. Saga games are lovely. They're insane. They make no sense. So it's going to be great having everybody go through 2, which is... it's actually hilarious because... so Final Fantasy II is basically the first Saga game. Saga 3 is basically a Final Fantasy game just with the Saga title. It's basically like the powers that be decided that they had to balance things out by putting a Final Fantasy-like in the Saga series, because Saga series started out as a Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I'm still not looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 2. So
you just got to keep the exploits coming.
Yes. And then trust me, they will be coming.
That's how Saga is basically meant to work. Break it, exploit it, work it.
Okay, moving on to our last piece of news here. Jason, do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about the Lifestream block party?
Well, it all began as the brainchild of just me randomly playing Final Fantasy XIV one day. We were doing the Moonfire Fair, which I mentioned in a previous podcast, and one of these guys set up a plug.dj page where basically you go in, you create an account, and then you like create playlists of music by using YouTube videos. So you've got a chat room and you're taking turns DJing and playing music, and it's totally fun. And I was like, this is a really cool thing. We should have one on the live stream. And then I went ahead and made one. And a few of the people have popped in and out. You get like usuals like me, Starling, and Joe show up there. Howl comes on once in a while. Lex comes on once in a while. A few others have popped in and out, but it's basically hadn't had a real purpose. It kind of just was one thing that we had, but getting people to actually show up is difficult because we all have different time schedules. Well, I got made the FanWorks editor, and then I lost my mind with power, and I'm like, I should create a community event. And I did with the Halloween thing, and let's do one with the plug.dj thing. And so I said, you know what? Every Friday night, we're going to have a block party, which starts from 10 p.m. UTC, which is 6 p.m. Eastern here in the States. And basically, it goes on till whenever, and you just go in there, you chat, you play music, and each week has a different theme. For instance, it's going on right now. The theme today is kind of anything goes because we're just getting started. But next week, we're going to have a 20 years of PlayStation theme, which is just going to be like a lot of PlayStation era music. And then the week after that is anything 90s. But yeah, we're going to have a bunch of stuff like that. And nothing is
I'll be invading with PM Dawn.
There you go. I'll be digging out my Savage Garden.
Oh fuck.
But no, I mean it's nothing set in stone, but it's basically kind of just a community thing that we do. So if you want to come listen to music, chat, DJ yourself, even it's totally open. Anybody can pop in, and I highly recommend it because it's actually really cool. It's a nice way to kind of talk to people in a less formal setting than the message boards tend to be.
Jason, what's the Lifestream's DJ website address?
It's totally easy. It's plug.dj/Lifestream. And
yeah, so come and join us. Even if you're not a member of the forums, come and join us anyway.
Yeah, totally. Anybody can join in. And funny story, I originally had the idea of using it as to play relaxing writing music to help people who are working on the FanWorks contest have music inspiration. But then I realized, who goes out of their way to go to a club environment to try and get relaxing music to write? Because I could be playing relaxing Final Fantasy music, and then there'll be that one guy who decides to throw on Papa Roach Last Resort. And it would probably be me, so anyways, it's fun. Check it out when you get a chance. I recommend it.
Carlie or Ryu, have you guys checked that out?
Not yet.
Yes, I've DJ a couple of times.
I've not checked it out.
Moving into the main topic of discussion, I thought we'd spend some time talking a bit about the Final Fantasy 15 news that came from Pax Prime. specifically from the Pax Prime active time report. Biggest news coming out of that was from Final Fantasy 15 director Hajime Tabata, and he announced that Final Fantasy 15, the release date for Final Fantasy 15 will be revealed at a special event in March of 2016. Why in God's name you would announce that you're going to have an announcement date is just beyond me.
Because they done this before. They made announcement about future announcements before. This is not new.
It doesn't make sense. It's
Square Enix we're talking about here. This is exactly the kind of stupid things they're going to do.
I figured it out. I figured out what's happening here. Square Enix is Britney Spears. It's like, yes,
fuck.
we really loved you back when you first started out, and maybe you got my first awkward boner in class to one of your videos, but now you're just a train wreck.
Okay, did Square Enix also do that to
I think
you?
he was talking about
okay,
Square Enix
Quistis.
and not Britney. And
Quistis, okay?
and here I thought it was the Square Enix logo that gave you the boner.
Hey,
They did show off some of the concept art that had been previously seen in a recent Famitsu interview, and we discussed that in a previous episode of the podcast as well. Tabata discussed the importance of the relationships between not only Noctis and his friends, but also his father, as evidenced by the Dawn trailer, apparently. The car being driven is actually King Regis's car. Some of the artwork of Leviathan was also presented along with the Genesis photo, and Tabata did confirm that the man off to the right in the Genesis photo is in fact Rama. New artwork shown revealed an outpost called Kaim.
Might be
Noctis
Kame.
and his friends can stop. Is it
It could
Kaim?
be either way. It depends. There's several valid ways to pronounce the AE combination. The question is whether or not that's actually going to follow any of them is up for debate because Japan.
Yeah, well, okay. It's like any of the impossible names of the Kingdom Hearts games, like 358/855/
That one is specifically
Pies, whatever.
358 over 2.
That's not the way I read that.
I know, but that's what it officially is.
Yeah.
We talk about Final Fantasy 15, I think, every single podcast we had, except for the Final Fantasy VII reaction one. We mentioned names, and they never stick in my head. We go to the next podcast, and we talk about other people that aren't Noctis. I'm like, who? What names are? I don't remember anyone with that name. I don't know who you're talking about.
It's not a very memorable. I mean, the thing is, if you've been following it from the beginning, and I know if Lex was on here, he'd be telling me everything about like everything he's followed because he's really clearly followed this. And I know he was like mad about how they kind of scrapped everything. But I mean,
he wasn't the only one. That was mad. I was very mad.
I respect that, but at the same time, it's just like the problem is even with whatever we had before it is now scrapped. So that's why I have stopped following the trailers. It's just like I don't know what I'm gonna get. I don't know. I mean, now we're kind of pegging down a definite release date or a release date for a release date. So that's all well and good, but I would just rather play the game and be surprised versus like getting my hopes up and have those things not be in the game. So,
that's that part you said, that's hilariously ridiculous. We know the sort of the date where they're going to give a release date.
Yeah.
But we don't know a release date.
Well, we know it's that they announced that it was coming in 2016 anyway. My bet is it's going to be somewhere in the spring, late summer time frame.
You're thinking they play it early and do a Q2 release?
Maybe a Q3, but it would like I said, maybe late summer. I can't see them going into the Christmas season trying to release it in Christmas season.
They should definitely stick to late summer when there aren't really that many games around. Because if they go for a November or October, there is no way in hell that I'm going to buy their game if I have other stuff to buy up.
Yeah, they should definitely go with the Dead Zone release, or pull the Saturn and go. It's releasing today.
Didn't Final Fantasy 13 come out in like first quarter?
Yeah,
it was in March. Yeah. I remember because that's one of the worst mistakes I've ever done.
Oh man. Okay. Mike, gentleman's bet, just for when the podcast eventually gets to March timeframe, a couple, like 8 months from now, gentleman's bet. I bet you they're playing the late game and going to release it in Q4.
I'll take that bet because I still think they're going to do it in Q3.
Okay, we'll see. We just stay tuned and find out the results of this many months after you stop caring about this one.
Right. So yeah, they said that Noctis and his friends can stop at Kame before traveling on a ship that will take them to a town called Accordo. They said the boats will be rendered in real time and will travel seamlessly through the ocean, and you will not be able to travel on the actual boat. However, how the fuck does that make sense?
I think what they mean. I think what that means is that you're not going to be able to move around on the boat.
Okay, well, if that's the...
And that they're going to cut between, instead of, going, oh my god, let's go on the boat, they're just going to fade in and fade out at your destination.
Yeah, so it's basically going to be like it was in Final Fantasy VII, making the trip across the seas.
Yeah, but what I think that they're saying is that if you, for example, drove along the coast the entire distance between those two places, you would see the boat going.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I thought at first, but now thinking about it, I think I have an idea. Maybe they're just talking about how they're not going to do it like Final Fantasy XII, where you can explore the airship in between your destination.
Yeah, that's what Ryu was saying.
Yeah. But that would make sense. But if you could still pilot your own boats, I'd be happy with that. If that's not the case, then this is the most pointless announcement ever. It's just like, hey, we have a thing that we can do, and we're not going to utilize it at all.
They showed some new footage that showed that not only can you drive the car, but you can also have Ignis drive you around. You'll have the ability to stop the car at any time. You can also have the car run on autopilot to take you to various destinations. There will be actual parking spots to set your destination to on the map. There will be the ability to switch to a first-person view while driving. There will be enemies you can stop and fight along the way. Apparently, they're literally going to be standing out in the open fields, similar to what we've seen in the episode Disgaea demo. Everyone will travel on the right side of the road, which I guess this was a big deal. They said that driving this way was based on the way that countries who have guns drive on the opposite side of the road from Japan.
America!
Yeah.
No, 90% of the world on the right. About 90% of the world also has guns, but so did a lot of countries that now drive on the left. On the left. And at you, England, you may have banned them now, but you had a butt ton when you started driving.
See, this is very cool to me because I never played a game where I can drive on my own and get out of the car and, fight other things. Never, ever, ever played that before, especially not in a game called Grand Theft Auto.
Wait, you get out of the car to fight things in Grand Theft Auto?
Well, I would if I wanted to.
Drive right into them.
There are some things you cannot drive into. I tried, but it didn't work.
Jesus, we are so cynical about this game.
Yeah, it's not. To me, the issue is not that they have this thing. They have this thing, is that they talk about it like as if it's like some new innovation.
No, it's definitely not. I think they're just showing off what they've done with it so you. But I agree with what you're saying, Carlie. No, I agree.
Just say, all they have to say is like, you can drive the car. That's all you don't. They don't need to go into like the specific details of this. This was like some new innovation. No, just say you can drive the fucking car around. That's all you have to say.
So one of the things they aren't plugging as much that I think they should be, because I just happened upon this. Apparently, the total size of the drivable world is going to be bigger than Grand Theft Auto 5 and The Witcher 3 combined.
I saw that.
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Yes, it's a massive map, and like that's awesome. But again, there is the concern, and I know a lot of people have been complaining about this. My friend frequents V, and he says everyone's ranting about how much they hate this. They're saying that it's succumbing to the open world thing, and they're worried that it's going to be a huge open world of nothingness.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly it. See, Watch Dogs also had a rather big place to drive your car around. A big place of absolutely nothing. it's not. See, it's not only you can have like a gigantic place, but that place has to be alive. You have to be interested in that place. You have to be interested in all the things that are going around. And a lot of games we're doing is trying to copy this open world thing, but they don't have nothing in them.
If the entire world is as detailed as the tiny little clump that we got in Episode to Sky, I'll be happy. You don't have to have everything every 5 feet, but you do in fact have to have something.
Hell, they don't even have to have set stuff. They could have procedurally generated areas every time you come in, so that that's your random encounters, and you can choose whether or not to fight them or just run the fuck away in your car. In addition to the set stuff.
I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence about it. There's a lot of things I think they've done wrong, but I'm totally willing to give the game a chance. I loved Episode to Sky. It was an amazing. It got me excited about playing the game, but I'm just tired of hearing this, like hearing new little tidbits, but you're not giving us anything of real substance. The coolest thing of all the things I've heard since then was the thing you announced last podcast about the radio stations having Final Fantasy music. That's the thing I'm like, ooh, yay, because that talks to me as a fan.
So Tabata also showed a new progress video that showed off a bit of the magic mechanic and some fighting with guns. And I don't know how to pronounce this gentleman's name. I'm going to give Ryu a shot at pronouncing this. The marketing director here.
Akio Ofuji.
Yes.
Probably had the a little too long, but it's Ofuji.
Ofuji?
Ofuji.
Ofuji.
Oh, Fuji! I fucked that up.
Yes. He announced that the team are still working on the official forums. Apparently they plan to have them up and running by Tokyo Game Show. They did launch 2 new Twitter pages for fans to interact with the team. It's at FFXVEN for the English Twitter feed, and at FFXVJP for the Japanese Twitter feed. And it was revealed that there will be more details about Luna and King Regis given at Tokyo Game Show. They'll also provide some information about possible side quests and activities you could participate in, such as fishing and chocobo-related side quests. So that was everything that came out of the Active Time report. Nothing that was particularly exciting other than maybe a little bit of tantalizing information about having the official release date announced in March next year, so...
Okay, wasn't there a comment from Tabata about Luna? Something like she was... what's the word that he used?
I don't recall seeing anything from Tabata specifically about Luna other than that last bit about him giving out more details about Luna and King Regis at Tokyo Game Show.
Someone posted it on the Final Fantasy 15 thread. You can cut this part out of the podcast when I search for what it was. Because I remember seeing it, and I remember that I wanted to reply something, and then I had to go to school, and I never actually went and replied to it.
How dare you go to school instead of replying? You have a commitment to the forum. Screw your education.
So does anybody else have anything about the Active Time report from Final Fantasy 15 here?
I've said my piece.
Can I press select to see another scene? Maybe get some more information?
Yeah, you could probably get more information about the hugging sequence and how they mocapped it.
Hey, I think it's very irresponsible that they had a release date for the release date without releasing the date that they were going to release that. They should have had a release date, release date, release date.
You know, for all
Okay,
the...
I think they should go in the other direction and have no release date at all. Just randomly, it'll be in stores.
Yeah, just send out a random tweet, Final Fantasy 15 now released.
Just
so basically
do it a week after it hits the street.
So basically you want just give it the Call of Duty treatment. Just randomly go into a store, there's another one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I found a comment, apparently, and I'm going to confess that I haven't actually watched the Active Time report because I haven't had time. But apparently they kept pushing that Luna is a strong female.
Seriously?
Okay.
Is that the comment? Seriously? It's like, yes, we have a tough girl. That is it.
Which, that sounds like...
By the way, I hate the
because
term strong female character. It is essentially meaningless at this point.
what exactly does that mean to them? Because there are a lot of different ways that you can have a strong female character.
And that's my point.
And again, what exactly does that mean? And they keep saying it, and they keep saying it because of the backlash they got and because of the reimagining of Stella and all that stuff, and then people don't really trust them or believe them when they say that Luna's not gonna be that like this damsel in distress.
Well, I think they want to believe it themselves that they've put together this strong female character, so they're reiterating it over and over and over to themselves, and they're trying to, meanwhile, also assure their fan base that Luna's gonna be this strong female character, but I'm not sure they believe it themselves, to be honest.
I think at this point, I don't. I think it's not so much that they believe she is a strong female character. I think they believe she has a specific character, but they're just saying the buzzword to get people off their back.
Yes.
Because goddamn, is that phrase is now a buzzword. It just doesn't mean anything in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it never really did. We're honest with ourselves.
See, my issue. See, when people usually say this kind of stuff, it means that something is not right, that you're trying to cover for something that isn't as good as you think it is.
Agreed.
But I'm gonna use again Final Fantastic IV here. Before the movie came out, I don't know why they keep coming together, and I sincerely hope that Final Fantasy 15 doesn't suck nearly as bad as Fantastic Four did.
I mean, that would be very, very difficult because, I mean, we, as this podcast, are a better Fantastic Four movie than the Fantastic Four movie.
That's true.
And we are not particularly fantastic. We are not a movie. The only part of it that we match is that there are 4 of us, and one of us is a woman. And I'm not even so sure of you at the moment.
Well, and I'm Molly Bob in the plot, and she was in the movie. See, before the movie came out, Just Trank sent in an interview, which kind of proved again that he didn't actually know nothing of the comics.
Oh, yeah.
That his Susan was gonna be like this strong female, classy thing, blah blah blah, not this slutty secretary that she was in the comics.
But what? Look,
that's what he said.
I missed this, and I'm trying to think of how Sue Storm comes across as the slutty secretary. Now, sort of slutty at one point because she was having this really weird ass
the comics.
Identity crisis, and she went super like look at my body for a while, but never secretary.
He obviously never actually read the comics. It was shown in the movie because he did something completely different to what the Fantastic Four are, and he showed a lot of disdain for the Fantastic Four in the comics.
He basically just wanted to make another one of
a sequel to Chronicle.
Yeah, basically.
But just use. See, the issue is in the movie, and everyone can agree on that. Susan didn't actually do anything. She didn't go to Planet Zero when they got their power. She was left behind. She was like a prop in the movie. So if he obviously was lying and trying to cover up with that comment, the fact that Susan had no role in the movie. So to the production team of Final Fantasy, I was gonna say Fantastic Final Five. That would have been a great name. The producers of Final Fantasy 15. Worse or win. You prove that you actually have a good character by showing an actual good character. You can keep saying that she's a strong female character, but that kind of shows to me that she's probably not going to be, and you're just trying to cover that up to get people to like quiet down from their obviously backlash that they gotten over this.
Yeah. On the other hand, the backlash over the Stella thing is, I think, overblown. Not because they're fucking up an existing character, because neither Noctis or Stella were terribly well established. Most of what was established about them before the scrap and the redo was like fanon. So, but yeah, I definitely think they're trying to do damage control with a lot of this. And I don't know if they've got a plan or not. Maybe they do, but at the moment they don't want to actually say what the hell it is. So they're just going with the buzzword.
Whatever. I personally, I don't think they believe it themselves. So it's some kind of weird psychology. So they just keep using the buzzword.
Marketing.
Yes.
A lot of it is now. your marketing, to deal with counter marketing, to deal with the internet shitstorm. Seems to be with the internet.
And since when the fuck is it that... yeah, never mind. I'm not even going to get into that. Never mind. I think with that said, I think we can wrap up our conversation about that then. I do want to get to some listener feedback, and we do have quite a bit of it. So welcome back, the listener feedback segment. We've got quite a few emails. We've got some responses from YouTube and from the Lifestream forums as well. So
not you too. Bono still hasn't.
So yeah, I thought we'd open up with starting with some emails here, and
I'll take the first one.
Who wants? I was gonna say, go ahead, Jason.
Okay, this is from Sarah, and I got your name right because you mentioned it at the end. So, haha, that was me. Yeah. Okay.
Read it like Lara Croft.
Yeah. No, I do a better job trying to do my little Sarah McLachlan voice than trying to do Lara Croft. I'm good. You don't need to hear me try to do like a British but sexy, because I am American and not.
Well, I can do both of those, and I only happen to be one of them.
The real question is which one. Okay. I'm going to do a Brad Neely voice for those of you who are not familiar with Brad Neely. He's the guy who did Wizard People, Dear Readers. Listen to it. It's amazing. Better yet, watch it. But anyways, it's on YouTube. Anyways, this is the voice. So I can get to the freaking listener feedback already. From Sarah. Hey, guys. I listened to the last podcast after Gamescom had started. Sorry. And they released Final Fantasy 15 trailer, which is what I was hoping for and expected because I watched the active time reports. So I can't really answer the question you asked us. But I can still email you, right? I was wondering what you all thought about the FF15 trailer.
I believe that
Come on,
answers
Jason,
the
don't
next
curse on
3
me.
questions that you asked, Sarah.
Sarah, for our full view, watch the last podcast. And you probably heard some of that this time too. I thought it was really nice how much they revealed about the story and stuff like that during the Gamescom ATR, and I love all the artwork they had as well. It would be cool to hear what you all think about the story will be like, and maybe some kind of breakdown of the trailer, and what you think might be going on, or any theories you might have, or something like that. Yeah, I just get the impression most of you aren't super bothered about FF15, so sorry to go on about it. I'm just excited. We really aren't, and yet at the same time, like Carlie pointed out, every single podcast has featured some news about it, so...
The proper terminology is that we are obsessed with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we really do care about it, which is why we bitch so much about it.
Yeah, we are fixated on it, and we cannot let it go. And that is why we're keeping it in our bedroom and making it write another novel for us. One with a happy ending this time.
Oh, God. I'm trying to think of a cock-a-doodle car pun to use here. Oh, God. Anyways, I was really interested to hear how you are all taking the typical... talking about the typical time frame Square Enix have for game development and how long it will take them to get a game out after they've announced it. I think they've already broken the mold on that one. Yeah. I don't know much about stuff like that, so it's cool to know a bit more and try to work out how long things will take. You'll let us know the second they drop any more news on the FF7 remake, right? Yeah, I think we can.
Funny you make mention of that. Yeah. Supposedly there was some kind of information dropped about the Final Fantasy VII remake seeing a 2016 release date. I'm taking that with a grain of salt, but
yeah, that's definitely not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Seems unlikely.
Like, we can guarantee that there's no way in hell that that's happening.
Maybe December 31st, but no. Like, I think December is when we might see the demos.
December is
not this December, next December.
Next December might be when they have the release date that they announced the release date for the demos.
For the release date.
Yes, exactly.
The demo for the release date, yeah.
And Sarah, to your comment about trying to learn more about Square Enix's timeframes for game development and announcements and stuff, they are so all over the place. It's really hard to nail down a specific time frame on how they work. It's not
some of their studios go but others are very, very plotting.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's not. They're not like EA Sports or anything like that, where they're where you got a game like Madden that's out like clockwork every August, so you can count on when they're gonna announce the next game and stuff like that.
That's a good thing.
I'm sorry.
Carlie said, to be fair, it's a good thing that they're not coming out every August.
No, I agree with that. I'm just saying
Creed.
that they don't have a set. A set guideline, if you will, about how their time frames work was the point I was making about that. It's not a clockwork kind of thing, so not with Square Enix anyway.
Definitely not with Square Enix. I'll tell you, the one thing I have noticed though is that when it comes to the mobile games that most people don't care about anyways, they announce them and they're pretty much like on the App Store the next week or something like that. They come out ridiculously fast from when they announce it, but they're also, with the exception of Record Keeper and that Triple Triad game on the Portal app, most of them are not worth your time. So you're not missing anything.
Well, and I would also assume that the mobile games have a much quicker turnaround than developing a full game for PC or PlayStation 4 or what have you.
And yet I guarantee you, because of the premium nature of these games, they make more money for the company collectively.
Probably. Unfortunately.
Yeah. This is a comment that I really like. Actually, I have another paragraph to read up here first. To properly answer your questions, I guess anything about the remake is what I want at the next few game events, but I know it's not going to happen. There probably won't be much, if any, information is released at all, probably until spring of 2016, right? If they're pretty early in development and stuff, it's going to take a long time. They won't be rushing to release the information. Yeah, probably not. They're playing their cards close to the vest on that one. Can I also just say, and this is what I really like, thank you so much, can I also just say how awesome the Case of Shinra audiobook has been so far? I'm so impressed by all the audiobooks, and this has got to be one of the longer stories. I'm seriously just blown away by how much time and effort and love must go into all of them. It's insane and such good work. Yes, Mad props. I love every one of the audiobooks that are available on YouTube. It's such time and dedication goes into these things. They're amazing quality. I highly recommend it to anybody who gets the chance. It's awesome, and they do great work. Wrapping this email up here. I love the breakdowns of the FF7 remake trailer. So good. And the Always Night and Midgar thing was great too. Tetsujin, there you go.
There you go, Tets.
I've heard people saying that poor Midgar was in a state of constant nighttime, but I always assumed it was more a scene-setting, dramatic portrayal, because there are definitely times when it's in the middle of the night and stuff. Yeah, exactly. I'm on Tumblr a lot, and all these headcanon people have are annoying, especially because so many of them are based on nothing, and most contradict stuff that's actually canon in the story. Sometimes I wonder...
Welcome to headcanon.
Yes. Sometimes I wonder if these people even know FF7, you know? I just ignore them, but still, they need to pay more attention. Sorry if I'm rambling a little. Not at all, you only took pages. Probably this is the kind of feedback you're looking for from us listeners. Anyways, take care, and you're looking forward to the next podcast. Sarah, any feedback we appreciate, all right? So don't feel like you're...
Yeah, I was going to say.
Go on, Mike.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say God bless you, Sarah, because I really enjoyed your email. So please keep sending us feedback.
Gives us more excuses to use our silly voices.
And by we, he means him and Jason.
Oh, come on, Carlie. You've got them in you. You know you do.
Yeah, that's it.
And Sarah, I hope we were able to answer some of your questions here. I know we can't necessarily answer all of them, but we'll certainly do our best for you.
I'll take the next one from Samwise.
Okay, go right on ahead.
And I'll be doing it in the voice of Samwise DMG as best I can.
Excellent.
Hey, thanks for reading out my email. I was genuinely surprised, Mr. Frodo. The Retrospect series sounds great. I'll definitely be checking that one out. I'll try to keep this short. I feel I should explain myself after publicly bashing 9. It does have some fantastic moments. The FMVs are incredible. The battle system was pleasingly simple. The world was largely interesting, and the bad guys and girls were great. However, even as an 11-year-old back in the day, I felt some aspects were kind of childish. The character designs and art style for a start. What was with the fucked up animal people? Why did Zidane have a massive head like a Saboteur figure? At least 7 had the excuse of early graphics, but after 8's renderings I felt like they'd gone backwards. We can't go backwards, Mr. Frodo. We have to keep going to Mount Doom.
To answer the question about the graphic design, the reason they did that was because they were trying to make it reference the older games. So having the large head, small body was kind of a throwback to the sprite design of that day. As far as the half-human, half-animal people, I don't know, man. Was that in like 3 or 4? I don't.
No.
That was...
Well, naming way, but... And there were some werewolves in 5. But that's basically it. There were a couple of random, like, animal people, but nowhere to the level of in 9.
You freaking, like, the second scene in the game, I gotta give Sam props on this one, because the second scene in the game, you're watching the airship come into town, and you're seeing Vivi go down through Alexandria, and all of a sudden there's a freaking hippo with a horn going, "Follow me, nobles!" And there's, like, freaking parade of animals that are standing on 2 feet. I'm like, okay, what the hell?
Well, it was Final Fantasy meets Watership Down, apparently.
Oh, man. Oh, goodness.
Anyways, he actually sort of preempted your response by saying, at least 7 had the excuse of early graphics, but after 8, I thought they'd gone backwards. I know that was the point, a throwback or whatever, but seriously? They could have hidden the Sesame Street characters and Where's Wally in there, and no one would have noticed. They did. Keep looking. Also, it's Waldo. So there. Now, we've identified Sam as not from the US because it's Wally. Obviously, this is all personal taste. Just like my irrational love for 8. Your response is about which I mostly agree with. I really think the junction system is quite good now I've figured it. The plot twists towards the end are kind of farcical. Yes. Along with other flaws. But the whole thing is so straight-faced, I just run with it. One last thing. I thought the 15 trailer was a mixed bag. Not a lot to reveal, but I like the vibe, the ambiance. You can tell there's something major going down, Mr. Frodo, even if it isn't right in front of your face. Not too sure about those cops wondering about the Assassin's Creed cosplay. I think they're elves, but meh. Once again, laugh my goddamn ass off. I'm glad to know you're all perverts. I'm obviously in like-minded company. Keep it up.
Yes, you
Thanks,
are,
Sam.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Yeah. Thanks for the feedback, Sam. Really appreciate it.
Totally. And as far as your comments on 8, you can enjoy the junction system, and this is from a guy who called Final Fantasy VIII his personal favorite, but even I know the junction system is only good because it is so damn cheap.
Yeah.
It's like you can...
Totally exploitable.
Totally exploitable. It's a broken mess on par with Final Fantasy II's leveling system. So, yeah, we'll let that one pass.
No, well, Final Fantasy II's leveling system works. It just has a few hilarious exploits. The junctioning system is working as designed. Broken.
That's a good point. And as far as the story content, yeah, I mean, the thing about the story, and this is where I differ from pretty much everybody else, except for you, Sam, the plot twists at the end are a little bit silly, but I like the fact that it's playing it straight. I mean, it's got the Final Fantasy humor, but it's mostly trying to be a Final Fantasy if set in modern day. Now, could they have done it better? Sure, and they could have made the characters a bit more likable at first. I will say Squall and Renoa, they do get better, but like I said, you have to suffer through them in Disc 1 first. Sam, if you're not familiar with it, though I think you might be, as far as the explanation as to why the story goes snooker loopy from Disc 2 on, look up the Squall is dead theory. I'm not saying I believe it, but I am saying it's an interesting theory.
I was actually just getting ready to ask if you subscribe to that.
I do not think that one holds at all.
It's not. There's too many holes in it for it to be solid. But of all the fan theories I've heard, it does at least have some clear research and thought put into it. And you know, it wouldn't be surprising if it was true necessarily. I just don't think that it is.
I think a lot of it is simply assertion for the sake of asserting something and insisting that something that one was not personally able to disbelieve, suspend their disbelief for, must have a more radical explanation. Like they took offense to the Moombas being able to, detect similarity or detect, genetic lineage through the tasting of blood.
Well, there was stuff like that was questionable, and I mean, like I said, those arguments don't really hold water. But I will say that first off, the characters drastically changed from Disc 1 to Disc 2, which is noteworthy, and I can't tell if that's just poor character development or something else, probably the former. But more importantly, like they point out, after Disc 1, all the really weird science fiction-y stuff starts to happen, like the garden starts to fly magically, and there's a sorceress who's actually got like supernatural powers, but isn't really a sorceress. She's really your mom. But your mom from an orphanage where, by the way, you all grew up and you forgot because your magical guardian forces, which would have these magical effect of, it's just a bunch of chaos happens starting in Disc 2, and it's...
Oh, no, that's absolutely true, but there's a bunch of chaos, but the chaos was already there in Disc 1.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Like, the magical sorceress has already happened in Disc 1. You know, the weirdness of the garden, and the thing is, it's mostly Squall and Renoa that change. Everybody else actually stays pretty consistent. They're the ones who are written terribly, and that's the problem. If any of the other characters had been the main characters, I think 8 would have been a lot better. Or rather, if Squall and Renoa had been written as well as some of the other characters.
Well, they tried that. They made Quistis the main character of a game, and they called it Bayonetta, so...
Guys, I don't want to like rush you, but this is not a Final Fantasy VIII podcast.
Good point.
This is gonna be very fascinating when you do like the Final Fantasy VIII one.
Agreed, and I was actually getting ready to say the same thing. Carlie.
Yeah, alrighty.
You guys are, I appreciate you guys are really getting into it.
But so let's go with the next up.
Yeah, next up is from LeoMan924. Jason, do you want to go ahead and read that one?
Sure, I'll do it.
That lets me do the next one from Sam.
Read all of them.
I'll read it like Leo Man from Digimon. I believe that they should remaster the International Zodiac job system because it's nice that everybody can have their own class, and not everybody can be an expert at everything, and the game is updated. One thing that they should do is rebalance the job classes so they don't become so overpowered early in the game, which I believe was the case. Yeah, that's actually true. I would spend hours just wandering around like Dalmasca Estersand, getting license points, and by the time I got like Ash in my party, she had like 3,000 license points. Yeah, that's fun to exploit too. Another thing they should do is like with Final Fantasy X International version, let people choose to play either the original license board or play with the Zodiac board. That way you can play 2 different games, which gives them even more replay value to people that haven't played before. Thank you, and have a nice day!
Yeah,
my sore throat.
I totally agree with your sentiments, Leo Man, about having the option to play with either the Zodiac board or the original license board. In fact, I think I actually brought that up where I thought that it would be awesome to have the option to play either the International Zodiac System version or the original version, just depending on, however you want to proceed with playing the game here. Unfortunately, Square has not confirmed that there is an HD remaster coming out, but
always
I have to say, surely it's not around. It's just right around the corner. It has to be. Of course, they could put it off the way that they put off Final Fantasy VII all these years, but hopefully it's right around the corner.
I don't think Final Fantasy XII is as beloved by the fan base as 7 to warrant such a holding off and waiting period. That, like I said, I made the joke last time about them restarting the rumor mill, but honestly, Final Fantasy XII is a solid game, but I don't think anything in the Final Fantasy franchise has garnered as much attention as 7.
I totally agree.
I might be biased because I'm on a Final Fantasy VII website, but
Okay, so moving on to the next message. This one is from our friend Sam again.
Yep. And I will be doing this one in the voice of Sam from Sam and Max as best I can.
Oh my god!
I could have done it as Max. That would be even more hilarious. Hey guys, sorry to harass you again, but I have a genuine question that only occurred to me after I sent that last message. You know where I can get a chicken with a pulley in the middle? Anyways, can't remember where, but I read a comment by someone in a thread saying how ironic it'd be if Final Fantasy, the very franchise that saved Square in the first place, now comes back to kill them off, like my little buddies Max. May have been a joke, but I think it's worth pondering. And if things don't pan out, can't imagine Square Enix going bankrupt. If XV turns out to be another 13, actually, it being another 13 would be good. 13 made bank for Square Enix. If they fuck the remake up, where would that leave the Final Fantasy franchise itself? No way they can keep hitting the remake button every couple of years to cover their asses. If the upcoming titles flop, we'd be looking at the beginning and the end for our beloved Final Fantasy series. Also, more broadly speaking, with the constant attempts to bring action elements into JRPGs, increasing modernization we're being force-fed, the core values of the good old RPGs actually have a place in the near future's game market? Won't blithely accuse you of being experts again. It'd be interesting, nevertheless, to hear how grim you think things could get. Again,
worst case scenario, it's nothing but Call of Duty Forever. And you are required to buy it and play it.
Sam, I appreciate the feedback here. I don't see Final Fantasy 15 being a flop. I really don't. I mean, it may turn out that everyone hates the shit out of the game after they bought it, but I can't see it being a flop. I do agree with you about how we're bringing in more. They're bringing in more action elements into the JRPGs, and I hate it. I hate it so much because I am a classic JRPG fan. But unfortunately, it seems like the world is against the minority here with those of us that enjoy the old style JRPGs. So I don't ever see Square going back to that, unfortunately. But I don't see Square fucking up Final Fantasy 15 so bad that it just bankrupts them. I think the worst that could happen is Final Fantasy 15 gets bad reviews and they go back to the drawing board with Final Fantasy 16. Anybody got a dissenting opinion of that?
Not really. I think you pretty much nailed it. It's like either it's going to suck, but they're still going to make their money back, or it's going to be awesome and they'll make even more.
And even under, let's assume the worst case scenario and it does bomb, Square Enix is still making bank off of Eidos. So we're not losing them anytime soon.
No, and like I said, I doubt it's going to bomb because I fully believe that they are going to sell the fuck out of Final Fantasy 15. The only way it's going to quote-unquote bomb is if the reviews from the fans, claim that it's terrible like they do with Final Fantasy 12 and 13, so...
And even in that respect, I mean, you figure, even for these games that have been considered bad, that the fan base didn't respond to, how many of those games that were initially hesitant about are people going back now and being like, oh my god, this game was amazing? There was a lot of heat for 10 when it first came out, but not 15 years later, we're having people saying it's one of the greatest games out there, not as good as the earlier ones, but still. I think that a lot of times you hate something new at first, but then that new thing becomes your nostalgia, and then you're like, oh my god, I love it. So right. It's hard to say with fandoms. It's just, like I say, it could go either way.
I was going to say, Final Fantasy 12 got rave reviews when it came out, and I remember everybody being so excited about it, and now the fan base seems split right down the middle about how they feel about Final Fantasy 12. Either you love it or you hate it. And to me, I think Final Fantasy 12 is a fun game.
Actually, I think it was when it came out, there was more divisive. I think now, because people are older, and myself, because when I played it for the first time, I was too young to understand, really get the more political aspects of the game. Did not interest me when I was a teenager. Now that we're older, a lot of people seem to be coming around to the game, thinking, oh, this is really one of the best ones that actually came out. To me, and in my limited knowledge of Final Fantasy games, I think is one of the top 3 best games the few ones that I actually play. I think it's a fantastic game.
Totally agree. We will definitely have to make sure that you and Fangu get involved in our playthrough of that when we get around into it in the retrospective series.
Yeah, that's definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Next piece of feedback is from Leo Man. I'm going to go ahead and take this one because it's real short. Leo Man 924 emailed us and asked if we had heard about the article that Uprocks had put up about the Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out in 2016. I mentioned that a little bit earlier in this episode. I'm taking that with a grain of salt. I really don't think that it's going to come out in 2016. They might surprise us and put it out in 2016, but I highly doubt it. I'm not putting much stock into it.
Agreed.
But thanks again, Leo Man, for the feedback here. Next up is our YouTube comments, and this is coming from our good friend Creative Ziggy from the last episode. Those of you that may remember infamously last episode where we read his feedback and kind of chastised him a little bit for some rude remarks he made in the opening, but then went on to this really fantastic breakdown of the Final Fantasy 15 Dawn trailer here. So this is his response to our response to him. So
I'll fill this one if you don't mind, since I read his comment last time.
No problem.
And seriously, if you haven't had a chance, like of all the listener feedback we've had, I really liked Creative Ziggy's review because it really went in depth, and I'm a huge fan of the review. But again, it was take it with a grain of salt as far as the trailer, because even though that's all there. Anyways, I'll go on to the comment now and stop rambling. I promises, but I will read the comments. So from Creative Ziggy. Yay, I'm famous! Yeah, I'm sorry for my outburst, but when 70% of the Final Fantasy community is lighting up torches and pitching forks because the trailer didn't say exactly what they wanted, it gets on my nerves. Especially when Tabata is a very talented director and is trying so hard to work on the game that was otherwise on its deathbed. Not even in mentioning the progress he has made in just a couple of years. He has done a very solid job in my personal opinion. And if interpretation isn't your forte, then I hope you guys don't play Dark Souls XD, which is that little smiley face with the little anime crossed eyes, as that game's tone and setting is based upon speculation and interpretation, which I love so much. Which is probably why we were able to dissect the trailer on a higher level than the average viewer consumer. Also, to add to the 14 dilemma some of you have, I'll actually play that game and I'm currently progressing on the hardest raid in the game, so I've been playing it for a while. Yeah, this is my first MMO, but I can tell you that 14 is an absolutely wonderful story, a great community, and has a lot of love put into it. They have a ton of throwbacks and older Final Fantasy-themed raids such as Crystal Tower, World of Darkness, and fights with Ultros, Ultima, Gilgamesh. It has a gold saucer from Final Fantasy VII with Chocobo Racing. It holds events for the newer games. It's honestly a very solid game that I think will bring people closer to the franchise. Smiley face. Keep it up, guys, and I will drop by the forums every once in a while and see if anything interesting pops up. Take care. First off, yes, as far as the fights that happen in Final Fantasy XIV, one of the best parts of the Hildebrand quest line are those fights, which I mentioned earlier in the game. But Gilgamesh shows up as part of the Hildebrand quest line. You fight him, and you have the classic battle on Big Bridge. And then you have a fight with Ultros in Ul'dah in one of the quests. It's just awesome, and they do a lot of stuff like that frequently to throw stuff in there for fans of the series. And as far as the FF7 Gold Saucer, it's awesome. I love it. The Chocobo Racing handles really smoothly. It's like a Mario Kart game almost. Triple Triad kind of is a hit or miss thing. I don't think they did enough with it to make it worth your time. And the card system is kind of restrictive, but still, I appreciate the fact that they threw it in there. Yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much all I had to say on that. So.
I'm gonna have to disagree on the interpretation thing. Again, the interpreting the trailer right isn't the issue. I think a lot of us knew what they were trying to do with the trailer. The problem is that a good trailer, you're supposed to sell your video game. You're supposed to make it interesting. You're supposed to like get people hype about it. And again, I bring up like the trailer from Deadpool, which did that. It's not the issue isn't interpretation. The issue is that like a 3-minute trailer, 90% of that should not be what they put in there.
Yeah, and I think that was mainly the problem that we had expressed with it, both on the initial podcast where we talked about and on the response. But yeah, I mean, I think that the interpretation is great and it's good to see that. And as far as seeing stuff on a higher level, versus the average consumer. I mean, that's all great, but remember, the average consumer is what makes you money. So if you're not selling to them, you're not making money off of your product. Not that Final Fantasy has ever had a problem with that since its first game, but still, it's something to keep in mind. As far as dollars and cents go, make sure your artistry has some pizzazz to it.
Yeah, the Dawn trailer would have worked perfectly when they rebranded the game. Would have been perfect for that. It's a great way to set things up and set up expectations. But because we've known about this for so long,
I do not agree with that. That would not have been a good start-up trailer either. I would have been completely confused as to what the game was.
It would have been a good tease. It would just tease a little bit of what was coming.
Not a 3-minute trail.
No.
Like it needs the shit that's in there is fine. There just needs to be more of the shit that isn't. Like gameplay and action and epic set pieces. We're getting.
I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Bad, I guess.
Especially if you're showing the trailer when they first rebranded the game as Final Fantasy 15, you would have put the Dawn trailers like that one. That would have been even worse than what they did now. The problem is not the scene. The problem is that it goes on way too long. It takes most of the trailer.
Yeah.
We get what they were trying to do, but it did not need to go on that long. It need to show other things. We got what the point, the tone is, but you need to show other things. There's need to be a variety of things in your trailer.
Totally agree. And Creative Ziggy, thanks again for commenting, and please keep the comments coming, and please do drop by the forums.
Yeah, something interesting always pops up there. We're all on there frequently, so
not quite the perversion.
I don't know if we're as perverted on the site as we are on here, so keep listening to the podcast too, because this is where we really cut loose.
I would totally disagree with that.
Oh, you think it's worse on the forums?
Well, if you know where to look.
Yes, exactly. there is some sexual frustration on that board.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, of course, the Boob Appreciation Club and the Ass Appreciation Club.
There's some very NSFW stuff everywhere on there sometimes.
Dude, when we finally get around to my member spotlight, I'm gonna be bearing all, so ask away. But yeah, I mean,
he means that in the visual sense too.
Nobody wants to see that. It's bad.
I never said that they wanted to see it. I just said you were gonna do it.
See, if you know me from the forum,
don't set up expectations you can't live up to. Now, come on.
I think at this point, I'm trying to set up disappointments they won't live up to.
Just like my wedding night.
If you know if you know some of us from the forum, you know that we are toning ourselves down a lot in the podcast. And by some of us, I mean Jason, Ryu, and myself.
Yeah, that's
I mean, I've only said fuck about 50 times. And...
Okay, so moving on here. A couple more pieces of feedback that came through the actual forums. I believe it's Ryu's turn here. Ryu?
All right, Team... What was that? Team Winglish Chicken posted, just checking in that I was tuning in. Podcast keeps me sane at work yesterday, but I'm probably a little late to comment. I'm noticing a lot of topics that are much bigger discussions, like brand loyalty and nostalgia value. But this isn't the IGN boards, so to heck with those debates. But I was tuning in, and I'll catch the next one on another break. Sometime.
Yeah, first of all, thank God we're not IGN.
That is something that everyone that is not IGN tells themselves. Helps them.
Second, it's really funny, and that a bunch of crazy people are keeping someone else sane at work.
Because he goes, at least I'm not them.
Well, no. You see, we actually absorb and contain and then safely release them. We're like radiation scrubbing bacteria.
Oh, holy shit. I wouldn't say that.
What, that we're not radiation scrubbing or we're not bacteria?
That we're not bacteria. We're after all, I've heard it best said that humanity is a walking virus. We're a virus with shoes.
Well, you know, the
Earth...
Earth...
Right now.
What's that?
But I'm barefoot right now.
I mean, you know, the Earth is uninhabitable. Everything that comes here dies, so...
Yeah, there is a Well, no, actually, no. Wait, that's not true. There are a few escapees that died in space.
This all got philosophical.
But
all of a
otherwise,
sudden.
yes, the Earth does have a 100% fatality rate, and it has so many more fatalities than any other planet in this solar system. We just live on, a death trap. Where the fuck is OSHA?
Hence Team Wingless's remark about us having much bigger discussions.
Yes, I think,
But yes, Team Wingless, thank you very much for your comments here. Please keep them coming. Last piece of feedback here is from our good friend Tetsujin.
Which means I was wrong when I said before that we fill our Tetsujin quota.
Well, we'd already filled the quota. This is just extra.
Yeah. Carlie, go ahead and take this one.
Yeah, thank you, because this is actually very relevant to what I said in the last podcast. Tetsujin posted, thank God, thank you, man. WALL-E is an adorable movie. My favorite
disagree!
Pixar movie, probably. Would love to see some of that in Kingdom Hearts 3. Thank you, someone that actually saw WALL-E. I'm embarrassed to be around people that have never seen WALL-E. And two of these people in the podcast are kids, so you think they've seen the movie.
I've seen it. I don't know what's wrong with these other people.
I am sorry. I am very sorry. You were not here in the last podcast. I am so sorry.
There are so many movies that I need to see that I just haven't because I just don't have time for it. It is on my list of movies that I need to see, though.
Yes.
It is on your list of movies that you're going to watch before the next podcast.
Yeah.
If you would like to purchase it for me, I would be more than happy to.
Yes, I'm sure I can acquire it for you.
Gajitas wears if you have coin.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't watch WALL-E, but I did watch a movie kind of similar to WALL-E recently.
Short Circuit?
No, it was called The Boondock Saints.
I can see the similarities.
Yeah. It's looking in the mirror.
Actually, I think WALL-E had watched the Boondock Saints, and that had informed a lot of his mannerisms as well. He was constantly turning things to the side and speaking at people about their sins. And, yeah.
Shut up! Carlie's crying.
I'm not crying.
It's a reference. It's a reference to the second one, which I also watched.
It's Tears of Blood.
Just watch WALL-E. Just watch WALL-E.
Do actually watch WALL-E. In fact, if you like Boondock Saints, Eve will be your favorite character than anyone in Boondock.
It was amazing.
Oh goodness, I do want to watch it. It's just I haven't gotten around to it. Same situation with Mike here. I just I don't own a copy, and it's not on anything that we have. So,
I can stream it for you guys.
Yeah. And then halfway through, it'll break into Farscape, and then it'll just cut back.
It's not a bad thing.
And also, there'll be the occasional dog barking or car driving by.
Yeah.
No,
Carlie, seriously, what you should do, I'm dead serious. If that's something in your capabilities, you should totally host like a Lifestream movie night. That'd be an awesome thing.
That's totally.
I did try to do that once. Everyone picked Sunday to watch the movie, and two people showed up, and the two people that showed up didn't pick Sunday. And also didn't pick the movie that we ended up seeing.
Fail.
So I haven't tried that again. I might, but if you're going to vote for something and say you're gonna be there, actually be there to watch the movie that you voted for.
On a completely unrelated note, everybody watched Johnny Dangerously. It's Michael Keaton in a mock mobster movie. It's from before Batman.
It's like Batman, but without the actual Batman.
Yeah, it's pre-Batman.
I would say Gung Ho is the better Michael Keaton movie pre-Batman.
They're both good, but they're completely sort of different animals. Also, speaking of Michael Keaton movies, Birdman.
Yeah. That's on my. I've got that on my DVR right now. I need to get around to watching that.
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. So something that just happened here. My friend Jacob is playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, and
first timer.
Now he's a first timer, but he's had everything spoiled for him by V. So he already knew that Eris is dead, but he just got to this too. So congratulations.
Okay, so See, here's the thing. Even if you don't know Final Fantasy and you never have any intention to play it, you already know Aerith dies.
Yeah,
That's
well,
like-
you already
you-
know that fucking Vader is his dad. So
Exactly.
you know that Rosebud is
that
a
is
sled.
You
that
know,
is engraved in video game culture. Everyone knows. That is probably the most famous video game death. Everyone knows that.
you know that Gazal greens are made of people.
They're not made
Okay.
of people, they're made of Moogles. It's why they're not around anymore. Why the Gasol greens are so expensive.
We're you know,
It's
the rails, they're
Selkis
here and
greens.
just...
Yeah, yeah.
That-
I don't
Jason,
even know where
Jason,
they
go
are
go ahead
anymore.
and complete your story here.
No, that's it. That was the story. I was just saying that
Oh, okay.
his entire comment about getting to Diz 2 was the feels. He's had the game spoiled for him, but still that death impacted him. That's how-
Yep.
I could never get too emotionally involved with that death because it was on the back of the box, and I'm like,
Those dirty sons of
Yeah,
bitches.
America didn't not do a very good job at hiding it because they showed it in commercials.
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I
was gonna say, wasn't it in the trailer?
yeah. So
Yeah.
it was basically one of those, yeah, we know it's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
it's not
think
that I hate the
the
character, but we just come on, get it over with.
I don't think the marketing of Sony in America understood, what a spoiler and a plot twist is.
No.
You're not supposed to show it.
Oh god, no! The history of Final Fantasy commercials in the West is just hilariously terrible. Even setting aside some of the shit where they show spoilers, it's like there's one where it's the one advertising for 4 when it came out as 2, and it's just the advertisement is that it takes so long for the kid to play it that he's an old man. That's the joke. You'll get, and they're going for you'll get so many hours of entertainment, but it'll take years off of your life. Compare and contrast this to
Smoking.
yeah, no, but the Japanese Final Fantasy IV, which is just a fucking ostrich running across the beach while the Chocobo theme plays.
I saw that. Oh my god. You can find all these commercials in these collections that I think it was Pixel put them together.
Yeah,
And put them on YouTube. They're hilarious. Just go watch these, man.
they
That's
are
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bizarre, and I mean, and
Final
all of
Fantasy
them
has a
are
very interesting
basically they're
marketing.
trying to sell movies, the 7 and the 8 ones, and both of them are lying their asses off. Especially the
They
8
need
one.
honest trailers done.
Well, I mean, literally, it's the one about 8 talks about Squall having to fight to win the heart of the woman he loves, when literally the opposite thing happens.
Yep, agreed.
With 7 was that thing where they had the thing with Sephiroth and Aerith. The Aerith one, the tagline was "A love that can never be."
Yeah,
Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense in context, but fine. But the Sephiroth was
yeah.
a hate that can never
No,
be.
it was a hate that always was.
Yeah.
None of that makes sense. None of that is in context with the actual game.
Yep. Totally agreed. So yeah, moving on from that, because I think that would make an interesting discussion topic all in of itself, maybe a whole episode in and of itself. Just wanted to throw out the question for the listenership for this episode. Are you guys happy that Square Enix has been escalating its development of mobile platform games, and why or why not? I think this is a
I'm pretty
really interesting
sure-
topic.
I'm pretty sure most of the answers are going to be no.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the responses, because I'm sure we're going to get some yeses. Otherwise, Square wouldn't keep putting these together. So, looking forward to some of those responses.
Final Fantasy All the Bravest was the best game ever.
So yeah, we do want to hear from you. Send your questions and feedback to us at lifestreampod@gmail.com. You can also reply to the episode posts each week on the TLS.net forums. Please leave us feedback on iTunes, and we will do our best to read your questions, comments, and feedback on the air. And we did get some feedback from our very own JasonTandro here, so he's our first and only feedback at the moment. So
Yes.
please leave us some iTunes feedback. That actually helps us get our show noticed in the iTunes search engine and such. So please do leave us some feedback. And
People that aren't Jason.
we'd like to thank you again for listening to the Lifestream Podcast. Take care and always protect the crystals. Music featured in this episode is courtesy of incompetech.com. And someone's phone's ringing. That means we owe you a beer.
That was Jason.
That was me.
Jason, you owe us all a beer, including our listeners.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Hang on 1 second.
Oakley.
There you are.
This is very bad beer. To explain, he just typed beer into our chat 3 times.
That is very disappointing for someone that's actually a bartender.
Well, you know what? We're not all professionals, darn it. I try. This is a rough
This is
economy.
the worst beer I ever had, Jason. I'm so disappointed.
Mine tastes like piss.
Boy.
I think that's just your piss, dude.
Oh, damn it.
See, the real question is, how do you know exactly what piss tastes like?
I knew that was coming.
Well, you see, when a man has a fetish...
Aw. I'm not R. Kelly, dude.
Ryu, not in front of the
People
kids.
piss on people in particular...
Not in front of the
with
kids,
particular
Ryu.
fetishes. So, what I'm saying is, Vader's a furry, and people just pee on him out of hatred.
Jeez. That is not true.
Good lord. I wonder how much of this actually makes it onto the
Holy shit.
My goal in these is to say at least one thing that we can't put on air to get into the stinger.
One?
At
One?
least
Are you kidding
one.
me?
At least one. Sometimes I have a good night.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
And
Let's
by
get on to the
sometimes I
main
mean
topic.
always.
Jesus, save us, please. Okay.
God's not here.
Clearly.
God is dead. I killed him.
Um,